Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Welcome to Everybody Needs a Bit of Scienza, recorded during the Gita Scolastica, Sardegna. Join Stevie and the Professore as they talk about the local wines, grapes, geology, and so much more. Seriously, there is a little extra too. And remember, you can watch these interviews on our YouTube channel Mamma Jumbo Shrimp, or you can check out the English version on our blog. Just go to www.italianwinepodcast.com. Now, onto the show.
And we are at Sella Mosca Winery with Giovanni Pinna. Is it Giovanni Pinna or Pinna? How do you pronounce your name?
Pinna.
Pinna.
Giovanni Pinna.
Okay, so Giovanni Pinna is the historic member of this winery. He's currently the general manager of Sella Mosca Winery. Giovanni, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning,
okay.
everybody.
Giovanni, listen, would you mind giving us some basic information about Sella Mosca? A little bit about the history, just a small history, and where we are.
Okay, I start where we are.
Okay, great.
We are in Sardinia. And
Good job.
Good job. And Sardinia is a big island that is in the center of the Mediterranean Sea. But what is the mean about the Mediterranean Sea? I think the principal main is the position. We are in very good location for the viticulture. We have a lot of sun, wind, light, good condition for the viticulture, especially for organic viticulture too. And Sella Mosca is in northwest of Sardinia. And the activity started many years ago when two Piedmont men came in Sardinia to start with a special activity, because at the end of the 18th century most vineyard was destroyed by phylloxera. And the activity started with the new city. Sella Mosca came from Piedmont in Sardinia to produce barbatelle.
Okay.
And 120 years ago. And then, some years later, they started in winery produce too. This is the story. And the activity go on actually in 520 hectares that we have.
Yeah, I mean that's enormous, right? I mean, so 520 hectares. You're the largest winery in Sardinia, is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
I mean, by far.
But I think in Italy and Europe too, because in Italy there are a lot of vineyard, big vineyard, but not in one corpo unico.
Right, one entire place, the piece of land.
Yes,
is so large,
only
right?
One piece of land.
Right.
Actually, we.
And is it continuous? Because we're here. I mean, I took a walk this morning, and I was walking and walking and walking and walking. It never ends.
Yes, never end in the south part, but if you go in the north part,
Yeah.
it's the same.
So how long is the stretch here?
2 kilometers.
2 kilometers. Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
And then what about the north end?
They're the same, 2 and 2.
So it's 4 kilometers.
4 kilometers.
And all of your vineyards are here.
Yes, no, not
Or
all.
you have also additional sites.
We have additional sites, but not in Alghero.
Okay. Whereabouts?
We have a very little vineyard in the southwest of Sardinia, in the Sulcis area. And another vineyard in northeast of Sardinia, in Gallura area. Because we want to have the Carignano del Sulcis appellation, denomination, DOC, and Vermentino di Gallura, DOCG. If we want to take these two appellations, we must carry on all the production in the area: the vineyard, the vinification, the aging, and the bottling in the area. We have 3 pieces in Sardinia, the biggest in Alghero, and 2 smaller in Sulcis and Gallura.
And where are you from originally? Are you originally born and raised in Sardinia?
In this area.
Yes, so you're like 100% Sardinia.
Yes, I am 100%. I born, I grew up.
You studied?
I studied in Sardinia, but only in North Italy. During my master, I carried on a master in Piacenza, and then I studied in South Africa too during my PhD.
So I know that as of last year, you're officially the general manager of Sella Mosca, right? But in reality, you've been with the company for a very, very long time, right?
Yes.
How did you start with Sella Mosca? How many years have you been with Sella Mosca?
I have been 22 years.
It's a long time.
A long time.
How long have you been married?
The same.
Yeah.
Around the same. 1 year more. I started like a winemaker and worked in different technical parts: laboratory, vineyards, winery, cellar. But now it's really different because general manager must know different job.
Right, and mostly also the business, right?
Yes,
You are like an orchestra of the conductor of an orchestra.
Yes, it's not easy because in this company we have a lot of job. Vineyard, winery, cellar, but also te lo dico in italiano, abbiamo la falegnameria, l'officina.
Oh, okay. You have carpentry?
Yes, noi diciamo un'azienda a ciclo completo.
Right. A complete cycle.
A complete cycle.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. So, Giovanni, listen, tell us a little bit about, I mean, I have no idea what they poured us, but give us a little bit of a skinny, panoramic view of the different types of wines that you make here.
Okay.
In Sella Mosca in general, not just Alghero.
In Sella Mosca we have the principal Sardinia varieties. I talk about Vermentino di Sardegna, of course, Cannonau di Sardegna, and Alghero DOC. In Sardinia we have many DOC, but very few DOC about the terroir. No? Many DOC are Vermentino di Sardegna, Cannonau di Sardegna, Carignano del Sulcis, Vermentino di Gallura, Monica di Sardegna. All the DOC has the variety before the DOC. But only Alghero has the terroir before the DOC.
Why is that?
Why? Because we have a very vocate terroir. No? We have some particular varieties. We want battezzare, how do you say?
Baptize.
Baptize the wine with the name of the terroir.
Right.
We produce Alghero DOC, but Alghero DOC maybe Alghero Bianco, Rosato, or Red.
Okay, but Alghero DOC, what is the requirement to make an Alghero DOC?
The area, the varieties.
Right, so the territory.
The territory, yeah.
And what about the varieties? What varieties are allowed to be made into Alghero DOC?
Special Torbato.
Torbato. Okay, there you go. Torbato. So Torbato is actually Malvasia di Roussillon, right?
Yes, you can say Malvasia di Roussillon or in Spain Turbat.
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 Okay.
But frequently they transform it with some other varieties. We produce Torbato 100%. It's not easy.
Is it difficult to
yes, it's difficult in
grow?
vineyard, it's difficult in winery.
So both winemaking and vineyard management.
Yes.
And why is it difficult? What are the
It's difficult.
difficulties?
It's difficult because in vineyard, Torbato has very long period between April, October.
So it's a long growing season.
Yes, long season, and the maturation, the harvest is really at the end of October, September, first week of October. Depend if you want. Do you want to? So you must make sparkling, of course, harvest before, no? But it's very long period. And it's difficult in cellar too, in the winery, because it's difficult to clean the mast before the alcoholic fermentation. No? We have a lot of pectin in the mast. It's not easy clear the mast.
Okay.
And the wine too, after. It's not easy clear the wine.
It's hazy.
It's torbido.
Yeah, hazy.
Yes, hazy.
So it's almost like the name. Is it torbato?
Maybe.
Do you think?
Yes.
Because that's what it means. It's like hazy.
Yes.
Right? Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that. So is it fair to say that, of course, everybody, you produce Cannonau, Vermentino, but is it fair to say that Torbato is actually kind of your, I don't want to say your signature wine in a way for Sella Mosca?
I think so, yes. Torbato is the most representative because only Sella Mosca produce Torbato. But we produce Torbato not only for some style, ampelographic style.
Right.
We produce Torbato for economy. We produce around 1 million bottles a year from Torbato.
Wow. So what is it in terms of the tasting profiles? Like what is Torbato taste like and what is it similar to?
Okay.
Because I don't think most people have tried Torbato, right?
I know. It depends. If Torbato is really interesting because you can transform it from sparkling to vendemmia tardiva.
Okay, late harvest.
Late harvest, no? But the characteristics change during this period.
Yeah, because if the growing season is from April to October,
yes,
right?
Yes. But the most representative note characteristics of Torbato are the aroma, not strong like Vermentinos can frequently go in the tropical fruit,
right.
but in citrus, orange skin, pear is not strong.
But what about the acidity? Because I tried one of your Torbato sparkling last night, right? And it seems really acidic. Is that a characteristic of Torbato or no?
If you harvest it at
early
August,
yeah,
and we want this acidity in
for the sparkling wine. Because you want low alcohol,
yes,
and the crispy freshness.
Crispy, yes, and freshness. But if we want more body, we must wait at October, and of course the acidity go down.
Right.
In this period. But another characteristics of Torbato is the sapidity. We have the vineyard very near at the sea. Frequently
How far is the sea from the vineyard?
I think 3 or 4 kilometers.
Yeah, it's like it's also right near the airport. I didn't realize you guys were so close to the airport.
Yes.
So just
so
3 you
yes,
can
5 minutes from the airport. And the Mistral frequently bring the saltness.
Right.
On the
from
vineyard,
the seaside.
Yes, on the grape too. And you can taste the sapidity, the salt in Torbato.
But it's mostly in the grape skins, right?
Yes, in the grape skin.
So when you're making the wine, you can taste the sapidity.
Yes, you can. You taste it.
So what are some of because I look at here and I'm looking at your vineyard. It's such a beautiful view from here, but I'm looking at your vineyard, and it seems pretty flat. Is that correct? What is the altitude here?
Around 20 meters on the sea level.
It's like sea level, right? And it seems this stretch of, I don't know how many hectares. How many hectares is this? Is it 520 hectares or including the other areas?
No, including the other areas, because we have 650 hectares.
Right, okay, so how big is this stretch that we're seeing right now in Alghero?
520.
Yeah, so like all of this seems pretty similar. Are there different microclimates with different areas?
It's flat, but it's not the same in all the...
Yeah, that was my question. So there are different microclimates.
We have different special in the pedological profile.
Okay.
You know?
The soil.
4 or 5 different zones.
Okay.
You know, from the soils. You know?
What kind of soils do you have?
We have
clay,
but also sand, and strati più profondi.
Okay, deeper layer.
We have calcare.
Okay, all right.
And we have 4 different areas where we put the different plant. Vermentino, for instance, grow up very well in the calcareo areas, and Torbato too.
And what about Canonau?
Canonau, we put Canonau in the sand area.
Right.
And we produce...
So it's more fertile?
Yes, more fertile, but we produce Canonau in Alghero. But Canonau, in all Sardinia, we can produce Canonau. But Sardinia, somebody says that Sardinia is like a continent, no? You can find different Canonau in Sardinia, from Alghero, from central of Sardinia, from south of Sardinia. In this area, Canonau is a special Mediterranean Canonau. You can taste the balsamic note, you can taste the tannin is very low, is not strongly in body, frequently strongly in alcohol, but not in body. Like Pinot, for instance, or like Nebbiolo.
And hence also the alcohol ranges can be different, right?
Yes, but
it's fairly high, right? Canonau in general?
You can taste different Canonau, but frequently the alcohol is high because the sugar during the maturation go up very quickly, and the polyphenols no. Mentre you wait the tannins, no? The sugar go up, but you must wait the tannins if you want some body structure.
Right, for the balance.
For the balance, yes.
Right.
But the sugar go up.
How is the Canonau different in terms of the wine and the grape for compared to Grenache? Because it's really the same grape, right?
Same, yes, Canonau is similar at Grenache, is the same family.
Right.
Garnacha too.
Right, Garnacha, yeah.
Garnacha too. But our Canonau is stronger in cherry.
It has stronger cherry flavor.
Yes, cherry flavor, and in violet too.
And violet. So when you're doing, let's say there's a blind tasting, and there's, of course, it depends on the winemaker, but let's say there's a Grenache, there's a Canonau, and there's Garnacha. How would you be able to recognize them, in your opinion? You're a winemaker.
From my experience,
yeah.
I tasted the Garnacha. Garnacha is stronger in color. You can
it's
taste
darker.
2 different
usually darker.
Glasses. You can see very immediately the difference.
Right.
No? Garnacha is stronger in color and frequently in structure. No? And Grenache, I tasted Grenache in a blend, especially in Chateauneuf du Pape. You know that in Chateauneuf du Pape they use different...
yes, like 13 different grape varieties. But predominantly Grenache.
Grenache.
Yeah.
And I think in Chateauneuf du Pape too is stronger. But I talking about Alghero area.
Right.
Because if you go in the center of Sardinia, you can find some Canonau more similar at the Grenache and Garnacha.
Okay.
Is more in this area. The Canonau is more, I think, elegant.
So I'm going to ask you a question. I know, like, it's like asking a parent who your favorite child is, right? How many children have you got? One. So that's not a problem. But usually when somebody asks you, who is your favorite child? It's an unfair question, right? But it's a difficult question. What about, out of all the wines, how many wine labels are there? How many wines do you make in Sella Mosca? How many different wines?
Around 20 wines.
20, okay. Out of the 20 wines, okay, have you got a favorite? What is your favorite wine and why?
At the moment, for me, the favorite wine is Cattore.
Cattore.
That is Torbato.
It is Torbato.
With 1 year's age.
In barrel or?
No, in bottle.
Oh, in bottle aging.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Aging. And why is this your favorite?
Because I think it's the very strong expression of this area. I think the wine must be the expression of one area, one terroir, one territory.
So I'm going to ask you some business part, right? So, of course, Sella Mosca has a long history. I remember that when I went to China, maybe about 8 years ago, when I started going to China, and they were talking about Sella Mosca as one of the pioneers because you did a JV, right, in China. Were you here when that happened?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that and the story about how Sella Mosca went to China?
About Sella Mosca and China is a story that started with the Bonomi owner. No? Bonomi was a very lungimirante.
Yeah, forward thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Forward thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he think that the China was a potential market for Sella Mosca and started in this activity.
And when was that? What year was that? How many years ago?
I think 30 years ago.
So in the 80s?
99.
99?
99.
99?
Yes, 1999.
Okay.
But maybe...
So 20 years ago.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
And but maybe it was too early.
So you did a JV with the local company, right? A Chinese company? With local partners, with the Chinese partner.
Yes, the Chinese partner was a cooperative.
Right.
The cooperative produced the grape, and we transformed the grape. There was a cooperative and there was Sella Mosca.
And how long did you do the cooperation for?
I think the cooperation go on for 15 years.
Right, and then and was it successful?
No.
Because what were the difficulties? Because I feel like
the difficult was the vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
The vineyard, the grape was good for grape.
And what did you plant in terms of grape variety?
Merlot, international variety.
Right. Okay.
Merlot,
so
Chardonnay, Cabernet.
Okay.
Merlot,
so like Bordelais and Burgundy, like
yes.
The French grape varieties.
Si. But it was too early.
Yeah. Do you think you would go back to China and do something like that again?
No.
People think China is an El Dorado, right? Like they think it's so easy because there's so many Chinese, right?
Right, but in my opinion, it's not correct.
Okay.
Many businessmen think that China is a strong potential market, but I don't know. I don't believe. Don't believe because not now.
Nah, yeah,
Not now.
it'll still take some time.
Because you must change the culture about the drink.
Right.
You must change the culture. It's not easy to change the culture in one.
The wine consumption. Yeah. So listen, I want to ask you one last question. You know, this is my first time actually in Sella Mosca. So if you were to, I know we're going to do a lot of tasting today, okay? But, and then maybe that can be the last question, but if you want to communicate to the rest of the world what Sella Mosca is today and where it's going, how would you say that? What would you like for our listeners to know and understand about Sella Mosca?
Sella Mosca is Sardinia, of course.
Yes.
Is a special part of Sardinia. Is the history of the enological history of Sardinia. Sella Mosca changed the style in the Sardinia wine, and Sella Mosca export, bring the Sardinia in all the world. Sella Mosca is the vineyard, Sella Mosca is the cellar, Sella Mosca is special the persons that work in this company. We have around 100 colleagues.
100.
Everyone is an ambassador of Sella Mosca. Because a lot of people born in Sella Mosca.
Right, right.
Everyone believes in Sella Mosca. Sella Mosca is this thing that I say now, and of course some special varieties like Torvato that in the world only Sella Mosca produce.
Okay, so what is your ambition? Like, what in the next 3 years, what do you want to accomplish? What are your objectives for Sella Mosca?
Our ambitions are go up the percezione.
Yeah, perception.
The perception of this company that in some years ago go a little bit down, and we want to go very up the perception. And we want to increase some number, especially in the Horeca field.
Right.
And we want to work with the GDO, the Moderno, in a very middle, in good rate, quality, price.
So
But
good value for your money.
Yes.
Like high quality, good value.
High quality, good value in the GDO.
Right, in the supermarkets and the retail
Well,
shops.
we are present in really strong quantity, but we want to give this consumer very good wines, high quality, very representative, and this is the ambition. Take due canali,
Two channels.
two channels with very high quality in both.
Great.
Increase the number,
Yeah,
because we have the grape for increase the number,
Right, you have the potential.
the potential.
Okay. So now what I would like to do is we're going to close up our conversation, but would you mind telling us the wine that we'll be tasting today? You set up like 4 flights, right? With the ambassadors today. Tell us a little bit about the wines where we will be tasting.
About the tasting, I prepared 4 batterie.
Yeah, flights.
One about Vermentino. We will taste one Vermentino from this area, young. One from Gallura, and one from this area, but not young.
Okay.
The second is 4 Torbato, 2 Sparkling, 1 Charmat or Martinotti, 1 Metodo Classico, Oscari, and 1 Torbato still but young, and 1 Torbato still aged.
Okay.
And then 2 Cannonau,
Okay.
1 from this area and 1 from the center of Sardinia, where we have a collaboration with some vigneron. And the last other 2 red wines. One is a blend between Cannonau and Cabernet, and one is Cabernet 100%.
Okay, great.
We want to give at the student a complete panorama about.
Yeah, I think we will get a very good idea of the Sardinia as an introduction, because today is our first day of the program of the Gita Scolastica, so we're very much looking forward to that. And thank you so much for hosting us today.
Thank you, Stevie.
Okay.
Chin.
Chin.
Cheers.
Chin chin. We say in Italian Wine Podcast, chin chin with Italian wine people.
Chin chin.
Oh, chin chin.
Chin
Till
chin.
next time. Okay, and that.
And that's a wrap for today. If that ain't suspense, huh? Well, you will have to stay tuned for next week's edition of Everybody Needs a Bit of Scienza to learn about what happens next. Thanks for tuning in. Chin chin!
Maybe, probably was.
It's okay. It's also Attilio. He does this all the time. He always has his phone, and we're interviewing. He's like, I can't talk right now. That's just typical. Okay.